What's up, everyone? Bob's Blu-rays here, and I'm back again with another episode of Getting to Know Me More Than Movies. In today's topic, we will be discussing finding your place. So stay tuned right after this intro, and I'll go ahead and dive into it. Alrighty, so as I discussed in the intro, today's topic will be finding your place. It could be figuring out who you are, where you fit, different things like that. So take that with what you will, but let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to be discussing 3 movies, as I always do. One in particular I'm saving for last that I can't wait to discuss in deep dive and a deep detail of it. As always, these are my opinions, what the movies mean to me, what I take from them, my perspective on them. I'm giving my opinions and maybe some advice or how I experience these movies and things like that. But I'm never telling anybody what to do or what not to do, okay? So please understand that. But let's go ahead and dive into the very first movie, which is going to be Up in the Air. I just rewatched this last night. I had seen it about 3 years ago for the first time. I like this movie quite a bit. I think it fizzles towards the last 45 minutes, the last half of the movie. I really, really enjoy the first hour and 15 minutes. I think it's very well made. I think the whole movie is very good. It just starts to drag for me in the last 45 minutes, but it's a very good movie. I do enjoy this movie quite a bit. I think there's a lot of great lessons to be learned. It's basically, I'll try and explain the premise. It's about a character, George Clooney's character, who enjoys flying and traveling, and he has to do it and fire people for a living. And he gets to travel and rack up all these miles and different things like that. And he loves it. And then Anna Kendrick's character comes in and has this new plan in place where she can cut down on expenses and all this different stuff and gas and blah, 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 blah. And it essentially cuts his character out and makes him irrelevant in a way where he's no longer traveling or flying, and so he's not too happy about that. But the movie covers a lot and dives into careers and career choices and figuring out where you want to be, who you want to be, things like that. His character is in one scene in particular where he's talking to J.K. Simmons.
How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams?
27 grand a year.
And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy?
Good question.
I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives, guys exactly like you. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness.
And his character obviously talks to J.K. Simmons about, hey, how much did they pay you to give up on your dreams, basically? And I think that's so powerful, that quote, that scene in that movie, because I've been there, right? Where you're taking jobs because of the pay or something like that. I went to school, dropped, went back to school, dropped, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I could never figure it out. And I finally found something I love, and I worked my ass off to get there. It hasn't always been the easiest ride. There's ups and downs, but when I feel like I'm at my best and I'm at my happiest, it's when I'm doing what I love and I'm making a difference. In anything I do in life, the biggest thing I want to do is make a difference. So his J.K. Simmons character wanted to be a cook, right? And he took this job at $27,000 and then eventually got up to $90,000, which is great. It's amazing. But he seemed miserable. And George Clooney's character asks him, how much did they pay to give up on your job, your career, your dreams? And I haven't always had the best support trying to be a personal trainer, going to school to do that, because it's not easy. Nothing's guaranteed. And I work for myself now, and it could be struggle. It's a grind, and sometimes it's not the easiest thing in the world. And I haven't always had the people who had my back, but they cared, right? And I don't want to dive too much into that just yet and things like that, but I think it's very important to follow your dreams, figure out what makes you happy and pursue that. And I'm not telling anybody to leave their job or anything like that, leave their career, but I think there's a healthy way to find a balance, and I think it's very important to find that balance. And I think Up in the Air talks about that really well. And then there's one scene in particular at the end. I don't want to spoil too much about it if you haven't seen it, but he essentially accomplishes one of his biggest dreams and goals ever. And he gets there and he's like, it's almost an empty feeling for him. He's just like, wow, this is it. So I thought that was amazing where that scene showed that you can accomplish one of your biggest goals or dreams, but still be empty at the end of it. And I've talked about this in previous weeks. So I would recommend checking this movie out, especially if you have career choices to make or you're in one of those kind of limbos in your life. Check out Up in the Air. Sorry I dragged on a little bit about that one. The next one I'm going to talk about is going to be a movie called A Long Way Down. I saw this for the first time. I saw a trailer. I loved the cast in it. Saw a trailer, ended up checking it out, and I loved the movie. And then I rewatched it on a, not a live stream, but backstage with Fish the Film Collector, and he ended up loving the movie as well, and I've recommended this to other people as well. But this movie is basically about 4 characters right here. They all want to commit suicide, and they basically create a pact. They form their own little group where they say, we're not going to kill ourselves. We are not allowed to kill ourselves until Valentine's Day, I believe it is. And when Valentine's Day gets around, they obviously continue to get to know each other. They become friends. They support each other. They go on vacation together, things like that. And some of them struggle with depression really badly. So this movie covers depression, suicide, a lot of different things, a lot of different topics. And I think the movie is great. It made me laugh. I'm pretty sure I cried, if I remember correctly. I love this movie. It's not super depressing. I think it's pretty heartwarming, if anything. So if you're nervous about that. But I think this movie covers quite a bit of trying to figure out who you are, where you want to be, where you're going in life, and also shows how much support is so important. Whether you're at a crossroads in your career, you're trying to figure out who you are, you're trying to figure out where you belong. Maybe it's this community, maybe it's YouTube, right? Maybe it's Instagram, maybe you're thinking about starting up a channel. I don't know what it is. You do, if you're watching this. But I think this movie covers how important it is to have support. There's a scene, a clip, where Imogen Poots is talking about support.
Yes, we were worried.
Was I on number 3 or number... I think I was on number 4. I just wanted to say thank you so much for caring, because I really appreciate it.
And as we see in that scene with the support, she talks about how grateful she is that she has people that care. And some people don't. Some people don't feel like they do. Some people don't feel like they have that support. I've always had my family's support. Sometimes my mom or my dad, my mom in particular, she won't necessarily support what I want to do. She supports, but she has concerns, right? So like even when I pursued my career as a personal trainer, she was proud of me. She was happy for me when I passed my test, went to school, finished all that stuff. But at times she'll be like, you need to find a different job, something that is more reliable. Get a job not working for yourself and things like that. So it's important to have that support. Now, it's not because my mom doesn't care. She does. But sometimes that hurts, right? It could hurt me because I just want somebody to support what I want to do and me pursuing my dreams and something I love. And I haven't completely been as successful as I want to, but I've grown, I've learned, I moved out, I'm living on my own, so I'm doing something right, sort of. And I think this movie covers that. Support is so important. Having people in your life that care. And that could be in this community, right? If you have people that have your back, people that care, people that show support, it's so important. It is. When you're doing YouTube, anything in life, support is so important, because if you don't have people in your life that care about you or you feel alone, it's really hard to keep going. It's really hard to want to press on, move forward, things like that if you don't have that support. And so I really appreciate that movie. I think it talks about that. I think it's great to have that group that they have, a very close-knit group, and I think that's super important. So that movie I would highly recommend. It's not super dark or depressing. I think it's heartwarming. It's sad. It has its moments. It has talks about important topics. So I would recommend that movie for sure. And the next one and the final one I'm going to talk about is one of my favorite movies of all time. You probably just saw me pull it up. It's going to be Castaway. I just rewatched this like last week. I love Castaway. We're talking top 50 favorite movies of all time, probably for me, top 100, somewhere in that order. It is such a remarkable movie, and this movie talks about, I was going to pull it for loneliness last week, but I wanted to save it for this topic in particular because I think finding your way, finding your place, figuring out who you are, things like that, where do you go, crossroads, all those things, this movie's perfect for that. And I remember watching the ending of this movie. And I'm going to dive into some spoilers. If you haven't seen Castaway, just understand I'm definitely going to dive into a little bit of spoilers here. So the ending of this movie, the very ending. We get to see in that scene where he is sitting at a crossroads. Literally at a crossroad. There's 4 ways he can go. And he just kind of walks into the middle of the street and turns and looks. And, the scene before that, he ends up talking to the woman from the package that he had. And, you know, you don't know if he's going to follow her, if he's going to go and try and start up a relationship with her, go talk to her. Maybe he goes a different direction. But he just stands at this crossroads in his, you know, metaphorically in his life. And as the credits rolled when I was rewatching this, and I was kind of having one of those moments, if you want to call it that. But, I just sat there on my couch and sat on the couch for like 30 minutes and I was having a moment, you could call it. But I love that. I personally love that because I love when movies can make me feel something. Now, I had seen this movie so many times, but it was a while since I had seen it. And I just love that scene. I think it's so emotional. I think so many of us have those moments in our lives where we get to a crossroads and we're just trying to figure it out. Where do I go from here? What am I doing? Where do I fit? That could be a career. It could be anything, right? And I've had those moments, and I feel like even in my 30s now, I'm still trying to figure it out. I know what I want to do. I know I love what I do, but I love to be more successful in what I do. Like I have to do side jobs on the side just to make it, you know, be able to support, buy movies, things like that. But I'm still trying to figure it out. I am. Like I love what I do. I'm trying to figure out my place on YouTube, right? Like a friend of mine I was talking to and a few other people had talked about like figuring out who you are and finding your voice. And I thought that was actually so good. And it's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this movie and finding your place, because finding your place or finding your voice, it might sound corny, but it's actually very true. And it's very important. And I think some people could go through years and years and years or be on YouTube or be in a career and not figure out where they belong, who they are, figure out their voice, things like that. And I think it's super important trying to figure out your identity in your career, in your life, on YouTube, whatever it might be. And I know for me personally, I enjoy doing this series in particular, getting to know me more than movies, because I want people to know that for me, my channel isn't just movies. Do I enjoy talking about movies? Yeah, of course. That's what I'm doing here. And I know that at the end of the day, the videos, the Blu-ray hunting trips, the collection updates, those are going to get you the most views. They're going to get you the most hits, things like that. But it's not the only thing I am, right? I want to be known when you think of, you know, Bob's Blu-rays, how do you see me, right? When you think of Ken from Mid-Level Media, how do you see him? When you think of his name, what comes to mind, right? Is it the Physical Media Report? Is it a roundtable, right? And I'm always okay with getting deep here. So it's like figuring out who you are. How do you want to be identified? Like if somebody asks you who you are, who are you? You know what I mean? You might say, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a wife, whatever it might be, right? But I think it's super important to figure that out. Figure out who you are. If somebody asks you, who are you? You don't just say, my name's Bob, right? Yeah, that's your name. But what is your identity? Who are you? And I think this movie is so great at the end of the movie of that crossroads, trying to figure out, okay, who am I and where do I go from here? So he's lost 4 years of his life. He comes back and everything's changed. The football team has changed. His wife found a new man. His fiance found a new man, has a kid and everything like that. So I think it's super important to figure out who you are, who you want to be, where you're going, and have a support system in front of you that is willing to have your back and kind of walk through that fire with you. And there's a difference, an importance of understanding when somebody has your back and somebody supports you, like my mom, of understanding that she's coming from a place because she cares and she worries and she wants me to be super successful. And so she's coming from that place, and I understand that, right? And so I understand she has my back. She supports me. Other people do. And it's very important to understand that. You might have people in your life that try to help you in situations or will tell you, hey, I don't believe this is good for you. You got to understand, if they're coming from a place of love and they're your friends, that might be what they're doing, is they're concerned about you and they're letting you know. So it's important to understand that and think about that and understand, hey, where's this person coming from? Why did they say the things they said? I'm going to go on a rant here and talk about Tony from Basement Blues, because I've had conversations with him and backstage even, and even texting me, and even things I've done. I'm so grateful for Tony, and I mean that, and other people as well, but I just want to talk about him in particular because I've done things or said things or have done things on my channel, and Tony's kind of always that light that helps me understand, puts things into perspective for me, where he can help me understand different things and just say, hey, is this who you want to be? Is this how you want to be viewed? How would you feel if you did this to somebody else? How would you feel if you were in their shoes? So Tony's always, and we need friends like that are willing to call you out or help you understand two perspectives. If you might have hurt somebody or said something that could be hurtful, Tony will ask me, how would you feel if you were that person? And it's like, it's important to have those friends in your life. Friends who aren't afraid to call you out on your BS or anything like that. So don't be afraid to. If you're a friend, if you care about somebody, it's important to be able to do that. It's important to have those friends in your life, have that support system. I'm sorry I rambled so much, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out my place on YouTube. I know there's certain things I love to do, like this, and talk about more than movies, getting to know me. My biggest thing I want to do, why I got into personal training in the first place, was to make a difference. Not to make the most money in the world. Do I want to be successful? Yes, of course. But I wanted to change lives. I wanted to help inspire people, to make a difference. And that's what I want to do on YouTube. Even though it's entertaining and it's fun to talk movies and entertain people, I ultimately want to help people that might maybe be able to make a difference, or help reach out to somebody, or spark up a conversation, or anything like that. You never know what somebody's going through in their life. Be a friend, support somebody, encourage them, motivate them. Don't destroy, lift people up. And if you are at a place in your life and you're trying to figure it out and you're ready to give up, keep going. Don't give up. Don't stop. Keep pressing on. Keep moving forward. Like, you'll figure it out. And if you need that, talk to people. Find somebody who will support you, and go after your dreams. Go after what makes you happy. Figure it out, and just pursue that. Pursue it. Figure it out for yourself. So hopefully, something I said here clicks with somebody. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't write anything down. It just goes. So it's 20 minutes of me just talking and flowing off my tongue and just saying whatever. So I appreciate everybody who does watch these. Sometimes they could be a mess, but I'm just trying out here. It's what I'm trying to do. I really do enjoy putting out content. I enjoy putting out content that I enjoy putting out, and I try to give people a little bit of what they want to see as well. So collection updates, Blu-ray hauls, and those are fun. Those are fun as well, but it's not, when you think of me, it's definitely not what I want to be seen as, right? I don't want to be, he's a Blu-ray hunting guy, or he's got a great collection. That's not how I want people to see me personally, but that's just me. Everybody's different. So I think it's important to figure out how you want people to see you and go after that. Figure out who you are, figure out your voice, and pursue that. But appreciate it. Like I said, everybody who watched, thank you so much. Sorry for the rambling and rants. But until next time, I know tomorrow, Tuesday, I have a very fun stream planned for kind of just a party and trivia and things like that for mid-level Rad Club, we're calling it, which is all three groups of Rad Pack, Collectors Club, and Mid-Levolution getting together. So be sure to tune into my live stream tomorrow for that. It's going to be very exciting and very fun. So thank you once again. Until next time, everybody, good luck. Have a great day. Figure out who you are. Pursue it. Pursue your dreams. Don't give up. Keep going.